Hey peoples, it's October vlog time, and what a month September was. That's right, go back to September last month, BPM. I did a big rebrand and redesign of the business, all based on a lot that I learned from a certain guy. That guy's Arnoldo OfferMann from Master School Dances, or Full Schools Only, whichever way you look at it. And I'm going to catch up with him a little bit later in an interview for you to take a look at. But first, BPM. American DJ was there. They put on such a show with Pizza Fest again, a lot of giveaways for people. The seminars at BPM were incredible again this year. Mark Walsh just keeps on raising the bar every time. It's fantastic. And then, I'm filming this on the very day that Mark has actually announced BPM is going to change. BPM 2014 is going to change, but for the better. They're splitting it between DJs and professional sound lighting and video. So you've still got the show floor for BPM, you've still got all the fantastic education for BPM, but for those that were interested in the mobile DJ side of it and got a little bit overrun by the professional lighting, audio, video side of it, music production, that's going to be held this year, coming 2014, on a separate show floor. But the good news is, the one ticket for BPM will still gain you access to both. If it's something you're interested in, both the professional sound lighting and music production side of it, you can still get into both shows, BPM and the Pro show, under the same ticket. Moving on to business and the rebranding. I was looking for something different. This time I knew I was going to split the site and split the company down the middle. This one was fantastic at the time. I'm not going to bore you going back through all the years and all the cards because I've been going 20 years now. So I decided to take a look back through a few. It's good, it gets a message across. It's Disco Dreams, my name and address, phone number, website. But went too far in the middle. From personal weddings to children's parties with games. We cater for all. For a professional quote, give us a call. Really? And on the back, for safety and professional assurance, all DJs are CRB checked, all equipment is PAT tested, all DJs carry public liability insurance. Now that I could get over on a website. I think at the point I was just looking for something to write on the back of the card so that when you turn the card over, because everybody takes a card off you, takes a look at the back of it, when you turn it over there was something on there. The too far in the middle, this is where I've realised that I don't want personalised weddings, children's parties with games, Auntie Maud's 50th wedding anniversary. It wasn't me. It was too much. And more to the point, with all of that going on, I mean, would you come to me for a wedding? Would you come to me for a party? Look at it this way round. Would I go to Iceland to go and buy myself the latest ADJ light? No, I wouldn't. I'd go to somebody who knew what they were talking about. Would you go to Mike from Phase 1 and buy, what, 8 prime rump steaks? Well, you might, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't. I'd go to a butcher who knew his meat. Mike knows his kit, butcher knows his meat. So why would you come to an all-round DJ for such a special day as a wedding? Why would you come to an all-round DJ to make your school prom the best? It just didn't work. And that's why I was looking at splitting the company down the middle. But still, I went ahead and designed another card a few months later, because I wasn't happy with that one. Disco Dreams, we got the name in. Slightly different design. Not just discos, creating memories. Tagline in it, the imagination is our limit. Then my name, director written under it for some reason. The address, transparent again. Phone number, email address, website address. Too much information in one place. And then on the back of it, look at this. Providing uplighting, illuminated dance floors, video DJs, photographers, dancing on the clouds and more. Really, again, I'm supplying everything there. So I've split the company down the middle. And we produce this one. Why something like this? So simple. Nice logo that I can carry on over to the website, onto branded clothing for crew to set up with, maybe even an embroidered shirt. But it's nice and simple. I can carry that logo across. On the front of it, all that's there, my name. Why? Why would I have anything else on there? It's something to catch somebody's eye as a first impression. Then on the back of it, my name, Andrew Crampton. What I do, DJ and host, the company, and the phone number. If you're impressed and you like that first impression, you might call the number. Or you'll go and have a look at the website first, then call the number. But that is a nice, simple first impression for people. It's not telling them that I do everything, because I don't. Not there. Separately, I started the other side of the company, Schools Out Entertainment. Again, something different this time. I wanted a real eye-catching logo, something that says fun, something that says out there, a bit different. Schools Out Entertainment. Says what it does on the tin. On the back of it, Schools Out Entertainment. My name, this time Andy Crampton. Little less formal than Andrew. The guy that's going to entertain your school children, your uni students. My phone number. Facebook and Twitter, because it's aimed at a younger market. So where you can find me, Facebook and Twitter. And of course, my website. Hopefully again, that logo, that first impression, will be enough for somebody to call. As I promised at the beginning, I learned a lot of my stuff and a lot of the things I've found, I've put into practice today from a fantastic guy, Arnoldo OfferMann, who the only way to describe him in America is the king of school proms. I caught up with him earlier this week in an interview on Skype, and I thought I'd share it with you.
Hey, how are you doing?
Right, Arnoldo, you're over in Florida at the moment in the United States.
Yes,
What's
sir.
your area like for school dances normally?
You know, Florida's a very interesting market because, you know, when you hear DJs talk about the word NIMBY, not in my backyard, it's almost kind of funny when I live, living in Florida, because I'm in an area, I'm in a city called Lakeland. It's right between two major markets, Tampa and Orlando. Now, if I drive on the east side towards Orlando, I'm going to see a lot of the more higher-end school dances because either other companies are pushing it as well, or because they want to see bigger school dances for one reason or another. But if I drive an hour west of that, I'm going to see dances at 1/10 of the price tag. Now, that may not sound like a huge fraction at first, but when you go from $5,000 and then an hour away it's $500, it's kind of incredible to think about it. And it's not just, it's one or two schools. We're talking, 20, 30 schools at $5,000 plus, maybe another couple dozen at $2,500 to $5,000. And then an hour away, you have 30 to 40 schools that never spend more than $500. And then some people say, well, it's a numbers thing. This school has this many students, this one doesn't. But it's really not, because when you drive an hour and a half south, you're going to see schools of 100 or 300 people total. But not just total of, at least here in the U.S., we have 9, 10, 11th, and 12th grade. But you also have some schools that are pretty much a complete school, meaning 6, 7, 8, 9, and 12, and they have 300 students total. And they're spending almost as much as a school of, let's say, 500 to 600 students total. So it's kind of an interesting way the numbers play out. Now, the other factor is, as far as the way that our market works, at least most of the U.S., is that we have different budgets for different things, and whenever students raise money for an activity, such as a dance, that money can only go towards student activities. So it's not like if the students host a dance and they raise $50,000 in the dance, which is actually a number that we've seen before. It's not like that $50,000 can go towards books or can go towards teachers' pay. That's a whole different federal budget. That budget goes towards student activities, so that can go towards graduation. Maybe they're going to do a senior field trip, pizza parties, that kind of stuff, which is very common. So the challenge isn't to get them to spend the money on this particular dance or raise the money, because they probably already have that money there. It's about convincing them to spend the money on the dance, to make the dance bigger, to help them raise more money. At least that's our philosophy on it. We want schools to do bigger and better dances, but I don't want them to go broke, because if they go broke doing a dance, they're not going to hire us next year. We want it to be a profitable venture for them, because it does take money to spend money. Obviously, we as businessmen know this, but we got to show this to the schools. So that's essentially what I teach DJs is, just as you're a businessman, these schools are business people and they don't even realize it yet, or at least most of them don't.
Right, so you originally started struggling to get the students to spend the money to make their money.
Long story short, we were motivated by the amount of money that we could get, but also by the fact that somebody was trash talking us, and we're like, hey, challenge accepted, let's make this work. So we literally presented everything. I mean, it was balls to wall presentation. We brought lights, sound, video inside the cafeteria and literally presented what the dance was going to look like in a compact version. And we not only bought extra equipment to put this together, but we made a package at a ridiculous price tag. We're talking, it was like a $600 starter package, a $1,000, a $1,500, and then $5,000. We're like, let's see if they go for this. Now, $5,000 was almost vaporware. But it had some stuff we never, we didn't even have. We're like, we'll purchase it if they book it. We didn't think they were going to, but sure enough, he did. It was like, okay, this is really going to work. So it just, kind of all fell together from there. There were a lot of good and bad and mistakes in between, things that we've never done before, things that kind of shape the way we do now. In the end, the dance has always turned amazing and the teachers loved us, but that's because we don't let them know on everything that's going on in between. But I think those mistakes really helped us grow in the long run, and we made these mistakes early on before anybody else even did what we do, or before it got to the point that everybody, in our area or that area started pushing for bigger dances, that if we made a mistake, it's not a big deal. It's unprecedented. You can fail when nobody else has even failed or succeeded at this before. And that first dance, we were expecting, we wanted 8 hours to set up because we've never set this thing up before. This setup was huge. I mean, even by today's standards, so when we do this was a big setup. And the hotel's like, oh, well, we had double booked. There was something going on. You have 3 hours to set up. And it was an absolute total nightmare, chaos. Students were walking in. I'm still up on top of trussing, trying to finish wiring everything up. Now, the sponsor understood because he knew the hotel kind of shafted us on it. But in between, there were some lights that we didn't get working right. There was just some things that didn't work out that we wanted it to. And you know what? Who cares? Because it was still amazing. It was more than anybody in that area has ever seen before. In my eyes, we didn't do everything 100% correct. We maybe did it 90% correct. But it was still 300-400% more than what anybody's ever seen before. And I think that was one of the advantages about getting somewhere first, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I take it that big presentation an hour away from you that nobody spoke, that was where basically For Schools Only was born.
It was actually on the way to a convention by John Young of Disc Jockey News that he was hosting. It was called the Disc Jockey News, the Northern DJ Convention. On the way to the plane, on the plane ride, I was talking to Kelly, the CEO. I'm like, we really should have branched this out. This should be its own individual entity because nobody's going to hire a wedding DJ to do a school dance. We're doing these huge kind of dances now. We might have not been the first to start throwing out kind of AV presentations, small concert stuff at the area, but we were the first ones to do it with a good DJ. And I thought it was either like a good DJ or you have good AV. It was never both. And we were the first ones to actually bring both without student complaints, with administration complaints. And I told them, how can I market a school dance, that we're the school dance specialists, when we're doing weddings too? We got to separate it, make it something for schools only. And I like that name. And he's like, oh. So, he's just, I can remember if you fell asleep or if you read a book on the plane, it's a flight from Florida to Minnesota. kind of a long trip for us. So I'm sitting there coding everything, doing the graphic design. By the time we land, I have the website done. I have a basic business plan laid out. I'm like, look, here's where we are. Here's what we need to get. This is how we're going to get there. And we had it halfway there. At the convention itself, there were two presenters, and I recommend any DJ. Look, I don't care if you're going to do school dances or not. I promise these two guys will change your lives, not just business-wise, but personally. The first one is Brian Dodge. Any kind of books, DVDs, whatever, get them all. The guy is amazing. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Brian Dodge. I think you've heard of him before, right?
Yeah, the name rings a bell. He comes up, obviously an industry icon for that reason. The only guys really that I know stateside are the icons that sort of stick out.
Awesome. Well, Brian Dodge, the reason I do this is because he's kind of like a DJ. He's very ADD. He's talking, ooh, look, a bunny. You know, so I like this presentation style, and I actually gathered a lot from that. But there were a lot of stuff that he said, not just in the way to sell, but to actually run your business, that I like because he really put a lot of ethics into it. One of the big icons in the U.S. for sales is Zig Ziglar. Now, nothing against Zig Ziglar, but I don't like that 1980s car salesman type thing where you're pushing somebody towards a sale. So, listening to Brian Dodge was really refreshing. But then there was another gentleman, Michael Port, who wrote a book called Book Yourself Solid. And this is, to me, the sales Bible over anything else. In Book Yourself Solid, he talks about the red velvet rope policy. Every nightclub has a red velvet rope, or, you know, something to keep people out. Not because the club is full, but because they want to keep certain people out to keep that image, you know, a specific image that club has chosen. And that's how your business should be. My translation is you can't sell chicken nuggets and filet mignon in the same store. You can do it, but it's not going to work out very well for you. So that's how Four Schools Only really got started. So all the way back, I took all this information that I gathered from these two, and I told Kelly, okay, here's how we're going to do it. And it just kind of rolled from there, and it just snowballed into something bigger and bigger. 2007, 2008, when the U.S. economy tanked, we had our worst season right at the end of 2008. I almost said screw schools. It was still better than our first year, but it wasn't as good as the 2007. 2007 was a good season. 2008 was... So we almost gave up. I still didn't want to, you know, we had so much investment. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try something different. Just plugged in all new things, all the techniques that you see in master school dances, kind of redid everything from the ground up. And this year, you know, I mean, we grew exponentially every year since. This year, I'm happy to say that we have we have more schools ever, and we have about 30% more income coming in from schools, gross income, than last year, which is about 40% more than the previous year. So needless to say, I mean, it's a lot of money that's been coming in. So, I mean, we still have growing pains, but that's to be expected.
That's completely understandable. So, go on. Can you do it off the top of your head? Where are you now? What did you do this homecoming season? What were your figures? Because you're just in the middle, aren't you?
We just started the homecoming season, but I think sales are done. I mean, I still have a few schools that have called me in, but either 9 out of 10 were not available, or we didn't have enough people available. We have broken the $100,000 mark in less than 26 schools. Now, some of these schools are very, very small schools, so I wouldn't even count it as a homecoming. You know, as far as the prices, some of these are absolutely big. I'm not really worried about growing outward yet, in the sense of maximizing what we do have. The big problem is that I'm very anal retentive when it comes to control. You know, my DJs, the ones that we have, our roadies and everything, I tell them, look, the playlists have to be done a certain way. Yes, I want you to be creative. I want you to put your own spin. But when somebody walks into a dance, when they hear you mix, when they hear you MC, when they see the setup, when they see the lights work, it needs to say Four Schools Only. If it doesn't say Four Schools Only, you're out. That's it. End of story. I had one of my DJs who subscribed to his own music pool, and I said, that's fine. If you want to subscribe to a music pool that we're not currently a part of, that's great. You're not using that music for Four Schools Only events. And he's like, well, why? I'm like, easy. Let's say you use a song that one of my other DJs doesn't have, and one of the schools, you know, likes your style, and then you have, let's say they like that particular remix of songs that you played. My next DJ, he doesn't have that remix, it's going to make my other DJ look bad even if he wasn't a bad DJ. There has to be some sort of common ground consistency. And I think that's where a lot of multi-ops have failed. And I think that's why Michael Walter's book has been so good, or his DVD series and everything, because he teaches that consistency between multi-ops, you know?
It's branding almost.
Say that again?
It's branding almost.
Exactly.
McDonald's, you eat the same Big Mac in the same store across the states, across the world. You need the same consistency.
Exactly. So that's what we do. The way that we started branding our stuff, and part of the way we chose our branding, has been on two really large companies. Actually, 2.5, we'll say. The first one is Apple. We do a lot of our marketing presentations and stuff after the way Apple does it. Because Apple creates, even when they put out a product that just doesn't work the way it should, it still gets a lot of, press. It gets a lot of buzz. And we want to build that about our products. The other two are local chains. The first one is a supermarket chain called Publix, which, long story with that, because unfortunately it was the whole cause of my wife's slip and fall lawsuit. But Publix and In-N-Out Burger do two things very well. All their products come from the same warehouse or the same butcheries, etc. So no matter if you go to a Publix here or a Publix there, it comes from the same source, so the quality is going to be the same. And I know In-N-Out Burger has done their products the same way. That's why they haven't come to the East Coast yet. They're over by the West Coast because they want their management, they want everything to be from that same area so everything is consistent. So we've taken a little bit of that business model from both ends and apply that towards 4 schools only. And that's the irony between Dad and my wife and all that,
So that's 4 schools only, which is the cause of Master School Dances.
Absolutely.
Master School Dances, for those that don't know, Master School Dances is a series of DVDs, a book on top now, and also a series of seminars by this fantastic man here, Arnoldo. You've heard his success, you've heard his business model, and you've heard how it's worked. Now this doesn't, how do I describe it? This isn't a fluke, this isn't, it's just worked for you. Through Master School Dances, you've helped a lot of people across the US follow your business model, and it's worked. So, what is Master School Dances?
Master School Dances was a fluke. Now, what I mean by that is, I was on a chat board, and I always share my gig logs, I always share tips and all that, but I was still kind of secretive about what I shared. And even to this day, I'm still secretive about what I shared, not because, I'm keeping it for myself, but I don't want to give a piece of advice until I know it works and I can adapt it for other markets. But there was a gentleman, Steve, who said, hey, I would love if you did a webinar. Maybe if each of us pitch like $10, we'll do a webinar. Or, you can do a webinar. I'm like, sure, okay, that's, that'll work. Let's do it. So I had quite a few people. After that webinar finished, they said, hey, we missed it. Can we buy a copy of it? Okay, yes, I recorded it. You can buy a copy of it. And it's really, really grown and taken off from there. And at first, I really kind of try to keep it within what I knew about the U.S. But then I saw people in Canada using that technique. I know a few people in the UK have used some of the techniques. I know even in Australia, Glenn McKay and his wife, they're using the techniques in Australia. There's other people in Australia that are using the techniques. Now, maybe the way that the federal budget works, that's not going to work in other countries, obviously. But I've heard it works in other countries, so obviously it must, unless they're lying to me. And I think the way I see it, and at least from an outsider looking in as best as I can, because I don't know the market in the UK, I do know there's a lot of U.S. influence there. I know there's a lot of U.S. influence in Australia, but likewise, there's a lot of that influence over here. So it's kind of cool how the markets have meshed together. So I think that helps a little bit of that performance part too. The sales and techniques and all that, there is a psychology that seems to be sweeping a little bit of the worldwide type thing. If I come to your area and I start selling the way that I do, I may not make it work. But that's not what Master School Dances isn't about. It isn't about take everything I do and do it exactly the same. It's here's how I do things, here's how I think you should do it, but here's how you're going to adapt it with your current business. So it doesn't matter if you're just starting or if you've been doing this forever, you will get something from it.
It doesn't just cover sales either. I've watched the Master School Dances DVDs. I've got your book now, read the book, and
Awesome.
I'm a follower. I'm not worthy to have you on this screen here. I'm a follower. And it's not just sales, it's how you set up. It's the rider that you send in. How many DJs would have thought of putting a rider in? Over here it's unheard of. But it's just, when you think about it, it's basic silly things like your power drops, like having a room air conditioned so you are not dying on your feet by the time you come to do the gig. It's hype techniques, which is something that is only just taking over in the UK. I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now. With the started off with the basic handful of glow sticks. How many want these? How many need these? It's the basic hype techniques that you give these things away. These are like a magician opening his cape up and saying, and this is how we did this trick. So Master School Dances to me was invaluable. It was fantastic, and that's basically why I've pulled you in today. Why should I preach it and have the man here himself who has taught a lot of people? So, Arnoldo, Master School Dances, where can you be found? On the web?
The website's easy, masterschooldances.com. You can also search for it on Facebook. You'll see the group and you'll see the fan page. And I definitely recommend, whether you are interested in the books, videos, or not, whichever, come join the group. Come join the webpage because you can learn from other DJs. And if you have a question and you're trying to find somebody in your market area that can answer it for you, if I can't, you'll find somebody there that's taken the techniques from the MSD series and adapted it to their market.
So, that's you with the website, that's you with the Facebook page, which even I frequent. It's a fantastic Facebook page. These are people that have read the book, that have seen the DVDs, they're actually using the techniques, and they're still offering on a Facebook page to give this information, little bits of this information away to help people. Even you are still willing to give little bits of information away to help people. It's putting something back into the community. Well, Arnoldo, I've got to thank you ever so much for your time. I mean, we're on, what, 12:30 is it now, your time? Midnight?
It is. It's only actually right at midnight. Let me check. 12:27, so it's not too bad.
So it's midnight 27 over there. I'll tell you now that makes it 5:30 in the morning here. So Arnoldo, thank you ever so much for your time. You're a busy man. I caught you only this morning to sort this interview out, and I didn't realise 3 minutes later, after I'd spoken to him, he posted a Facebook picture for a lunchtime jam at one of the high schools that you're at. I didn't realise that you were out on the road already, sort of thing. So I thank you so much.
It's not a big deal at all.
Thank you ever so much for your time, Arnoldo. That's brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us this month. Hope you all enjoyed the vlog. I hope you really enjoyed the interview with Arnoldo OfferMann. I'm going to put the links in the description below for you of where to find Master School Dancers, and you too can learn a lot more. Until next time, catch you soon.